Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. To understand why you are wrong, I'd like to cite the first page of my book. At least this is one way I've started my book with. The first kind of sub-book of the book. It's only 5 pages. I made it short and sweet for people like you and everyone else to understand why I'm right and why the Bible is insufficient. It's too vague. There's 20,000 denominations in America alone. There's 380,000 churches. Look at the state of the world. Okay, so obviously, the people who compiled the Bible were not doing God justice. So the essential alpha essence to sense the presence of God. Even before the Enlightenment era, scientists have conspired to cheat the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order for the governing class. The cross is said to symbolize the crossroads. The malnutrition Jesus is a symbol of the persecuted top martial artist and anyone who would choose his path. So think about it, right? The root and offspring of David, he faced Goliath in single combat. So the symbol they're using is like a governing class, amalgamation or combination of governing class characteristics, superimposed on the idea of the top martial arts ever possible, right? This kind of person, it's me actually, but it's an idea that existed before I was born. So it's this kind of, it's tall, kind of fast, athletic person, and the Roman soldiers were kind of more short and kind of thick, right? Because of their diet and exercise routine and the carrying all the armor and so on and so forth. So they were slow. And this is discussed in the Bible to some degree, where you see Jesus slipping away from the crowds. So the symbol that they're using is superimposed on the top martial arts ever. So, for example, if a bunch of white people from, Northern Europe pretended that they were Native American, would you tell the Native Americans, who are the most Native American, if such a thing is possible, that they're being blasphemous, for correcting them? And so it is here, right? Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. So a bunch of white guys in Europe and the people they ruled over, the kind of token minorities they ruled over, worked with the bishops, who were basically people that Rome had gathered together, people who the Romans were very much imposing themselves on, and made the Council of Nicaea in a way that is consistent with Roman values. I mean, the early Christians even worshipped in the same buildings as pagans when they worshiped their pagan deities. They go to one floor and worship the pagan deities, then they go to the bottom of the floor and worship the God of the Bible, so to speak. So you see that it's insane to say to the person who's actually the Son of God that he's being blasphemous, right? And you're just working with the state. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the other day, I think it was yesterday, right, where first somebody argued that I shouldn't be telling the truth, and then I got a ticket. And today I come across this message that you send, and you have a picture of an owl with red eyes, and I got summoned to jury duty. Okay, I don't think it's a coincidence, right? And I pointed out yesterday that I didn't think that was a coincidence, and then here this happens again today. And this is like the pattern that we're seeing these days. Lots of stuff coming together like that in a way that's clearly harassment. Okay. But, again, I still want you to respond to this video because, I want people to learn from your mistake. So scientists basically never have a good martial sense for the spirit, and they rely on logic within the boundaries of white supremacy and things of that nature. This is still reading from my book. I do not know of a single case of them putting God first, and in their own Western culture in the movies, we see people choosing to fight to the death. To make a long story short, they are evil, and the movie scenes are superimposed on a romantic and worthy death. The essential alpha essence to sense the presence of God is only in the top martial arts me, and those who obey God through me. One can tell by my motives, heart, goals, intentions, and history that I only intend to do what is right. This is overkill by the obvious fact that I reached out to attractive women with an argument of moral precision, and they do not answer because they are evil. Yet I try anyway. I wrote this book maybe, I want to say 3 years ago. It's been a while. And this is still true. They're still shunning me to this day. I haven't had a date in like 7 years or so, okay? They're shunning me still. Drug addicts. So I reach out to attractive women with an argument and moral precision. They do not answer because they are all evil. Yet I try anyway. Again, no offense to anybody. This is from my book. And if you disagree, okay. I have a right to, express my opinion about whether people are unrepentant sinners or not and things of that nature. Okay. Drug addicts, rich scum, wife beaters, and all sorts of horrible people get attractive females. So why do they shun me? All this points right to me as God's representative. My top martial arts challenge, which is legal and peaceful, mind you, and the obvious fact that my characteristics, including height and intensity before sabotage, etc., made it so the logical assumption to the new guy is that I am the top martial artist ever possible, and anyone with sense knows for sure that I am. Tech breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gain rule out everyone else. How can a scientist, a rocker, a nerd, a jock, a cop, a soldier, a common martial artist, a hippie, or anyone else claim to be God's chosen leader? Even in their Bible, in John 10, it is clear that Jesus' argument to the Jews was that he is God's son as he was set apart. In Exodus 15:3, it says, "The Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name." If scientists have nothing to hide, why do they not tell the truth about this and explain how Baal, Dagon, Zeus, Set, Kali, and basically all the main deities that people worship were war gods? And the fact that mythology is full of single combat arguments. Obviously, they are just snakes that they are just snakes that seek to snake me like everyone else. Okay, so the first page of this book basically is why the people who kind of organize their thoughts the most to present their case, right? They're not like some crazed light worker in a trance-like state, talking madness. They actually try to make some kind of argument, okay? And they kind of subtly and otherwise kind of control things behind the scenes, right? Technology, is the most profitable industry, right? The golden rule to Satanists is he who has the money makes the rules, and so on and so forth, right? So we see that it's clear that I needed to start off by addressing these people. And in doing so, it sheds light on why you're wrong about your comment. Okay? I'm not blaspheming for many reasons. Okay? First of all, there's many interpretations of the Bible, and they're inferior interpretations to my interpretation. Because I'm the top martial artist ever possible. And the Bible is a book about martial arts. Again, Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. Isaiah 30. Okay, Isaiah 30 definitively shows that I'm Christ. 30:30. The Lord will cause people to hear his majestic voice and will make them see his arm coming down with raging anger and consuming fire with cloud, burst, thunderstorm, and hail. Okay, notice the word is cloud burst. And Christ is said to come back on a cloud, so it's obviously a martial arts cloud. It's a strike that is being referred to here. The effect of a strike, the spirit of a strike. In the spirit of a martial arts strike, that Christ returns. And you see that has occurred in my videos in my top martial arts challenge, which is why people sabotage me, film me, and poison me with 23 witnesses on record. And I have still enough evidence to show that I'm right about that in my videos, which is very difficult to do in this day and age of technology and all this kind of lying and cheating and people speeding up their videos and they take performance-enhancing drugs while they're filming me and trying to get me to the psych ward, by accusing me falsely when I'm right and everyone else is obviously wrong. Okay. So as you can see now, to trust science is to use a scientific methodology to see that you cannot rely on them for divine leadership. Okay, and you trust them to some degree to make a car and to, when you get on a plane, yes. But you can't trust them for divine leadership. In all cultures that the world allows just lie about the relevance of martial arts in spirituality and religion while they cheat me. Even the word spirit is a play on words for spear it. We see that Horus has been depicted with a spear, and there are many other images of ideas people worship with spears. There's the spear of destiny and others that are said to be sacred. Jesus is said to have been speared and so on. One becomes less than a ditzy sex worker trying to sell worthless so-called spiritual trinkets when they claim that they are the authority on spiritual matters and that I am not. That's stupid, right? At this point, even a child should be able to tell you that I am God's representative, and the reason why people shun me, especially attractive women, is that they are childish, shallow, evil, and bred wrong. No offense to anyone. This is from the book where I'm being brutally honest. So how great is the gap between me and them? The answer must be that the gap is infinitely great. God is infinitely greater than those going to the just, and I am God's last King of kings in the flesh. We also see the phrases good guy and he's better testify that they who are more righteous are above they who are not. The Bible also says that the one who is from above, the realm of righteousness, okay, in reality, is above all. This intro was needed to establish my spiritual authority, to make it clear that people are dumb as dogs when they do not obey God through me. I did not come for the dogs or their offspring. Okay, so I can go on and on about my book. That's like the first half of the first page, and there's like 4 or 5 pages. It's a short book. So you already got like 1/10 through the book just that fast. So, and it's made to be right to the point. You see how it's right to the point. What you need to know, what the divine order is. Okay, so the first line is, even before the Enlightenment era, scientists have conspired to cheat the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order for the governing class. It makes that clear, instead of just putting out a book there where people misrepresent things. The second page, just to shoot through, it's really quickly the first point on the second page, which is called, the name of the page is called All Hope of Being Right with God Ends After I Die. Nothing with any human decency or spirit worth having exists outside of the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order. I am the last valid leader of the order ever, and the world is just a floating defiled planet after I die. I am morally precise, and I have proven this with outdoor sparring with no ill-gotten gains. So sometimes I start my book with that page instead because it makes it clear, right? It's right to the point. The Bible does something similar, but the Bible is much more confusing than my book. The Bible, it starts with Genesis, and in 1 John, it seems like that's the first part of the Bible, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So it's, in many ways, it makes more sense to start with 1 John, but it doesn't. And so it is with the second page of my book, right? Nothing with any human decency or spirit worth having exists out of the Royal African Falcon top martial arts order. Now, why? Because they're universally cheating me, right? They're cheating me in a way that everyone can understand. There's one human race. They spread out. They started looking different as they started changing their diet and habitat and habits and their activities and behaviors and moods and sentiments, okay? And as that occurred, they started worshiping other people instead of doing what they tried to do in Egypt, which is compare notes, right? People would come there from all over the world. They'd compare notes. They came up with Tati, which is being straightforward and honest through the use of the stick, proving that sparring is how you figure out who the Son of God is. And we see that David faced Goliath with a sling, and Goliath described it as having 2 sticks. So that continues into the Bible. And in so many ways, right, Christ being put on a cross, which is 2 sticks, right, and stick fighting to prepare for sword fighting, right? He came to bring a sword, which is the cross of the sticks, which is the crossing of the swords, thus the cross. And thus the spirit that you're fighting in, okay? So he says those who rely on the mere flesh instead of God are worthless and they're idolaters. This is a key theme in the Bible. And we see the way is the truth and the life, and we see that I'm the Son of God universally, and no matter how you slice it, it's very clear that that's the case. And it's insane to think that I'm wrong. So how can telling the truth about God as God's Son be blasphemy? It can't. I am right and you are wrong. I declare victory in this exchange.